is there anything that can be said about Back to the Future? Like, I'm talking, like, the movie is just is a classic from 1985, just full of great, full of great sci-fi, you know, action, comedy, even romance, music. Just the whole thing is just a phenomenon, basically. I mean, it's not only that, but it led to a cool trilogy, as well as several different comics and even a cool video game. But not the NES one. I'm talking the one from Telltale. But well, in honor of its 40th anniversary, let's talk about one of the ones that isn't quite as good. So, if you're expecting the any of the good ones like the classic movies or even the or any of the cool or any of the comics or the Telltale game, yeah, this ain't it. First time ever, we'll be talking about a series. In this instance, Back to the Future, the animated series. Yeah, sorry, I couldn't get a copy of the DVD in time, but this is, so this will have to do. Anyway, the plot, now the basic setup of the thing is it's set after the events of the movies, and specifically in the early '90s. And what it details is every adventure is individual. So, but you have your returning characters. You have Doc. You have Marty. You have Clara, Biff. Also new characters like Jules and Vern. But unfortunately, they don't. Uh, here's like one of the many like big problems with this thing is that the characters, despite having the name and even a little bit of the appearances of them, they're not the same. Like Doc, for example, is a bit more of an idiot in this one than he is in the movies. Also, he in the live action segments. Yes, there's live action segments at the beginning and end of the episode. That played by Christopher Lloyd, but in the show he's voiced by Dan Castellaneta, aka Homer friggin' Simpson. So, and it's kind of weird because Mary Steenburgen and Tom Wilson had no trouble coming back for voicing, but apparently Christopher Lloyd just couldn't it just feels kind of, yeah, I don't get that at all. I mean the one cool thing about these live action segments is that it introduced the world to Bill Nye until, well, which was great before he went crazy. Anyway, but back to the show. This is the other bad things about it. Well, is how it doesn't really focus a lot on Doc and Marty's adventures. It more or less just focuses on Doc's family, like especially his two sons, Jules and Vern. I mean, even Einstein has a larger role, and that just feels weird. Um, and the whole thing is just, plus Marty is kind of an idiot in the things. He's not like he is in the movies, where he's just this average, cool guy who makes mistakes and stuff. It's just, and there's one of the biggest things aside from it being not funny and the characters not being too likable is that there is that the plots are kind of stupid for every episode, and at times they even just kind of take a character backwards. So here's an example. And they kind of act sometimes like they don't remember what happened in the movies. So in one episode, for example, they go back to 1967 during and what happened, because apparently Doc did something back then that caused mass hysteria involving aliens. And well, anyway, Marty meets Doc in this thing, but Doc doesn't recognize who Marty is, even though they met 12 years before in 1955. So how would that even just? And plus, there's also the thing that there's also this thing that, like, like there's one episode called Roman Holiday where he meets like Biff's ancestor, where Marty meets Biff's ancestor, and what happens is that he challenges, is that Biff challenges Marty to a chariot race, and Marty refuses initially, but then Biff calls Marty a chicken, and which causes him to which upsets him and accept Biff's challenge. Now, the thing is, this now with the indication that the cartoon is clearly set after the movies, Marty should have learned his lesson by now about being called a chicken. So like doing this thing like is taking Marty's like whole character a step backwards. I'm surprised that nobody ever like stood up and said something. Not even Tom Wilson, who voiced Biff's, who is the voice actor in this case. So like anyway, that's just a few examples of how like it just doesn't, of why the show just doesn't really work. Also, for some reason, there's like one instance where they claim that the flux capacitor was Doc's college dream, and it's like I thought he got the idea for the flux capacitor when he got hit on the head. Like that they explained that in the first movie. So anyway, I'm anyway, this has been my review of Back to the Future, the animated series. To celebrate, if you want to celebrate the 40th anniversary, either watch the movies, play the Telltale game, or read the comics. Just like don't ever like watch this unless you're really really curious. Now, if you'll excuse me, I gotta send this thing back in time. Hopefully, it'll get eaten by dinosaurs. Well, I'm the pop culture guy, defending nerds from bad fiction.